a 5-year-old boy of Indian origin born and brought up in Mauritius, suddenly has a divine encounter with none other than Mahavatar Babaji, an ageless and timeless yogi who has been believed to be living in the Himalayas in India since over centuries. Mahavatar Babaji then chooses this young boy as his disciple and instructs him to carry on this divine knowledge and spread it across the world. At the age of 14, this boy experiences a state of full samadhi, known to be a divine union between the soul and God Almighty. He starts his mission to spread his spiritual message across the world and establishes ashrams in Germany and today across the globe. Today, I have with me the honor to welcome on my podcast Paramahamsa Shri Swami Vishwananda ji. Guruji, thank you so much for this divine opportunity and welcome on my spiritual podcast.
Well, thank you, Preetika.
I'm very keen to know about your spiritual journey. To begin with, I heard that you were only 5 when you had a divine encounter with your Guruji, who is none other than Mahavatar Babaji. Can you tell us something about that?
Actually, my spiritual journey, since I was small, even before I had this encounter, what my grandma and my mother used to tell, is that I was always drawn towards the deity, to the spirituality. But when I was 5, I ate some poisonous seeds. You know, like children, they play very often. And in Mauritius, we have some poisonous plant. And I was eating that seeds under the tree, thinking it's peanuts. All the children were there, also other friends were there. And when I collapsed, they have to rush me to the hospital. My parent brought me to the hospital, and of course the doctor did what they have to do. After that, I was put in the children ward with other children, of course. There was something strange what happened once. There was a young man standing outside the window, and he was giving sweets to all the children. So it was like all the children were drawn towards him, and he was outside and giving sweets. Very strange that there were no other people apart from the children there. So I approached him and I asked him, funny question. Now when I look at it, I always say, why are you here?
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at me and he said, I'm here for all the children and especially for you.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, 5 years old, that doesn't make any sense. So he held my hand, he gave me 1 sweet and 1 rupee, a Mauritian rupee.
Okay.
So I was so happy. I was looking at 1 rupee because you see, that time, 1 rupee was really a lot of money. So for small kids, you would get a lot of sweets. So I was looking at the 1 rupee. And then strangely, he said to me, do you know who you are? So for 5 years old, you ask this question, it don't make any sense. So I didn't answer him.
Mm-hmm.
So then he, without turning, he pointed behind him and he said, do you see the light? So by the window, I was looking behind him. Of course, there was some hills. I was looking, which light is he talking about? And I could not understand. And I said, no, I don't see any light. And then he bent down, looked into my eyes and said, look properly. The second time when I looked, I saw a ball of light like the sun, but with a disc of light around it. And then he said to me, I heard a voice actually, I don't know whether it is him. I heard his voice saying, that's you. I don't know how long that vision or image have stayed. After some time, when I came back, he said, I have to go. Your mom and your auntie is coming. He just left his hand in blessing. He disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually, my mom and my auntie came, and I was very excited to show them the 1 rupee and the sweet. And of course, like every, parents, They just said, oh, it's just an uncle who was there. So that was my first encounter. For sure, he have come before, which I don't remember. But that one I remember. Years later, he reminded me of that encounter.
Did he come to you in a dream few years later?
No. A few years later, actually, I was in India, and one of his dear devotee told me that he want to meet me. He want to see me. So I went where he have told me to be. Then I encountered him, met him. And it was not an easy journey, actually, because how he journeyed me towards where he was is like very strange. Very often when I tell this story, it's like, even if he's just in the next room, in the next house, but he will not just make it that easy. Because for our mind, you see, when we go and meet the master, we like to have easy things, But it was not that easy. It was a journey of more than take one train, go there, and another disciple were there guiding another place. And from that, it brings to different places. Until finally, he was there.
Wow, okay.
So this is how, then after that, it was in 2008. Then he reminded me of all the encounter when he was there all the time. So that was my first encounter. Of course, I had many such things, but this was the first one.
So Mahavatar Babaji has always been a mystery to people, and he is a timeless living yogi. Would you know exactly how long he has been on planet Earth? Because even Google doesn't know that.
Well, very often people presume, many things. People say many things. But you see, somebody who have already become one with the eternal, was he ever not there? This is a question. The eternal is always here. He played different role. He appeared different ways. But he stay eternal.
True.
So Atma, you see, when one realizes one Atma, one realizes the eternity of the Atma. It's not this physical body. Even when we talk about Mahavatar Babaji, the image or how we see him, but it's not about that. It's about, firstly, who you are. He wants to make you realize, like Krishna have make Arjun realize the eternity of the soul, the eternalness of the soul.
True.
And that is what Mahavatar Babaji remind, that you are eternal. Like I am eternal, you are also eternal. You have something deep inside of you which is without time, beyond time, let's say.
So is that when he taught you Atma Kriya Yoga?
Actually, he never taught me Kriya Yoga.
Okay.
I'm smiling because in 2001, Mahavatar Babaji came to me. He appeared actually to me, and he said to me, it's time to bring Kriya to the world. And I said, no, I'm not going to teach Kriya. I'm not going to give Kriya. Because this time, what we are living, when we look around, very often, faith have diminished in people.
True.
We run many places, but we don't have faith. We always want something. We go to the temple. We come with our baggage and we throw it on God and say, God, you fulfill that for us. We do our mistake and then we ask God to rectify that.
True.
And I was thinking, no, I would not teach Kriya. And people are not ready for that. So that was in 2001. Then I traveled around, and then 2005, again Babaji requested me to teach Kriya. And I said, okay, I will teach, but only something which can be benefit for the people.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, I would like to teach Kriya, but infused with devotion. Because faith and bhakti go together.
True.
Only when there is devotion, then I will teach it. And of course, that what was inside of me, that what I brought outside. And that what from 2005, I've been giving Atma Kriya.
Guruji, I have learnt Sudarshan Kriya techniques from the Art of Living and from my Guru, Shri Shri Ravi Shankar ji.
Mm-hmm.
So, having practiced Sudarshan Kriya, I'm very curious to know about this entire concept of Kriya Yoga and also Atma Kriya Yoga, and also how these techniques of Kriya Yoga meditations are different and impact you differently in comparison to meditation and mantra sadhana, which is mantra jap.
Mm-hmm. Look, in Atma Kriya, we do a lot of mantra jap because there's mantra Kriya also into it. And the mantra that we chant is Om Namo Narayana. So firstly, each master, they are guided to give certain technique to the student. And each one, to whoever is beneficial, that will help them to evolve, to grow. So it's not about any comparison, between Atma Kriya or Sudarshan Kriya. But one thing that we have to understand, what is Kriya itself? The word Kriya itself means an action. But with which kind of action? Because we do all kind of action in our life.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about Kriya Yoga, we are talking about a certain action with God awareness. So whatever we do, there is a presence of the divine into it.
Mm-hmm.
Coming to meditation, what is meditation? So meditation is about you transforming yourself, change yourself. And when you have changed, like I said earlier, that you can help other people to transform also.
Mm-hmm.
Because we chant mantra, very often people chant all kind of mantra. You can see, you could just go online and type mantra. You will have mantra for everything. Whatever, it has become such a commercialized things nowadays, But you can buy mantra, you can sell mantra, whatever. But that is not mantra sadhana. Mantra sadhana is whatever you have received from your Sadguru, that you treasure it. You chant in the quietness of your heart, and that will help you to connect with the divine within yourself. It will transform the mind. It will elevate the mind. And it will transform you. Not only the outside gets transformed, but the inside gets transformed.
Yes, I wanted to ask you that when Shri Krishna took birth on planet Earth, it was so many thousands of years back. And at that time, wars and attacking and conquering other territories and, all of that was the thing back then, But today we can't kill people with swords, but we can kill them with our words,
It's true.
I just wanted to ask you this question, that what would Shri Krishna's message be for today, today's people living today's lifestyle? Because I'm sure Shri Krishna is also known to be a timeless yogi, still living, and an entity who still continues to live. Of course, today Shri Krishna has been, labeled and, bracketed under Hinduism, but back then, 5,000 years back, the concept of religion never existed in Bharat.
Exactly. You see, Bhagwan, when he don't come for one person only, one kind of people only. He come for everybody. He came to remind humanity of the humanhood, and what hold that humanity inside. And that's what we have forgotten. Like you said, there's war, but war is still happening. War happened on the outside, we can see in the world. War happened on the inside of each individual. between the mind and the heart, there's a big war. So, but in that war, what is your priority? Where do you set your priority? This is very important. We set our priority most of the time about our mind desire. We set our priority most of the time on our body needs, but very few really set the priority on what is life itself. The same message that he have given to Arjun on the battlefield, he didn't tell to Arjun on the first chapter of the Gita. We see Arjun is sitting and crying, lamenting, but he didn't tell to Arjun, pack up, let's run away. No, he said, stand firm in whatever situation you are. Knows one thing, you are eternal and I am with you. And that is a certitude that he has said, that he is with each one. In the essence of your Atma, it is him. So that's what he will carry on say even till today. That's why the teaching of the Gita is still relevant even in today's life. But of course, we have to adapt that to our life. We can't sit in the same way that very often you hear people talk about what happened in the Middle Age or what happened in the 5,000 years. No, it is a message which can adapt to this time into your life itself and how you can better your life. And when you better your life, you become a better person for the society. And that is the message I think that Lord Krishna will give to this time right now.
I want to ask you also about, yatras and all these holy spots that we have in India, the pilgrim places. I want to know from you, especially about Kailash Manasarovar. I have heard that this place is a very divine place that has some kind of connection between, different planes like the earth plane and other astral planes. And I've heard that there are, out of somebody's experience whom I met, that there are divine entities from other planes who visit the Manasarovar lake every single midnight to just take a holy dip into the Manasarovar lake. What is the relevance of this place, and how does visiting a place like Manasarovar impact us or change us? Would you be able to tell us that, please?
You see, our earth have different energy point. And according to that energy point, I'm not talking only in Bharat, I'm not talking only some places, but these places of energy is worldwide. You can see holy places in Europe, you can see holy places in Latin America, for example. And you will see and hear that people have similar experience also. Coming to the point of pilgrimage itself. Pilgrimage, it's a journey, not only on the outside. Of course, the journey on the outside is very easy. We just take the train or take the plane and take cars. We'll go on the journey. And it is a journey of within, actually. It's an inner journey that we take when we go for pilgrimage. Because just to go outside, nothing will change. Because you've been to temples in India, how short time people just stand in front of the temple, in front of the deity, no? And also the crowd of people. You can't sit and really appreciate the deity. So you just go and have darshan. But that is enough. We have to understand when these are energy points. When you go through that portal, you are bathed into that wave of energy from the deity. And what is inside of you, connect to that source. So then it is important when you leave that place, you sit quietly and absorb that energy inside of you. But very often people don't do that. And they keep talking and they roam around. That's where that energy also dissipates. We have wonderful places in India. And each temple have its beauty, inner beauty I'm talking about. Each temple have its strength and power that elevate one spiritually. And as you were mentioning, Manasarovar, what does that represent? Manasarovar represent the calmness of the mind. Of course, the place outside is very important, as it holds a very tremendous energy. As you know, for Vaishnava, for Buddhism, for many people, that is a very holy place. For Vaishnava, this is a place where under the Manasarovar, it is a bed of Saligram. And as we know, Saligram is Bhagavan Vishnu himself. And of course, having that density of Saligram there, of course, the energy is very powerful. And whoever goes through into that Sarovar, they are cleansed. But cleansing on the outside is not important. Cleansing on the inside is very important. And what I believe more is the transformation and the change of the mind is very important. Just to take a dip in the Sarovar outside is not enough. Once somebody asked one saint a beautiful question. We take dips in the Ganges. Does we transform? He said yes. As long as you are into the water, you are transformed, you are purified. But you come out again, your sin is still waiting. Then what have changed? Nothing. If you only the outside change, you have not become a better human being. That is not that important. That's why Sarovar, that bath that one goes through, is the knowledge which the Sadguru gave. If one goes through the knowledge which the Sadguru gave, this is the grace of the Sadguru itself, then transformation will happen. Not you going through, let that knowledge of the Guru go through you, absorbed inside of you, sink deep inside of you. Then you have taken the dip in the true Manasarovar. And of course, the outside pilgrimage is important. It's a reminder of the grace of so many holy men, sadhus and saints who have visited these places and who have been touched by grace in these places because they were in the right tune. It's a reminder also for us to be, whenever we visited these holy places, to be in the right tune so that we also can be elevated. For me, that what is Manasarovar, where your mind is transformed. And when it's not just taking a dip inside, you take a dip in the knowledge of the Sadguru and you come out a different person.
Guruji, since you were speaking about the transformation of mind, today we have social media and we have, media at large on our fingertips. Media is so explicit today. I personally have stopped watching movies since a long, long time because in spite of being a part of, the cinema industry, and of course, I have great honor and respect for it because it not only gives employment to actors, it also gives employment to, diverse people, range of people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But having said that, I personally, since over the years, feel that, that lack of interest when it comes to watching movies, and I've just stopped watching movies. And I feel somewhere that, it probably collects large amount of unnecessary impressions in your mind, which I feel it's not needed. Even as entertainment, I feel it's not needed. But there are some people who feel that, no, we can watch any kind of content on, on the social media, in movies, and then we can just brush it off from our mind. We can just brush off these impressions from our mind at our will. Would you agree, or would you still feel that we somewhere have to be very careful and conscious of the kind of content we consume today in social media and, of course, cinema and the entire world of media and social media at large?
Actually, whenever you look around, we see that everything is in media, But I think we have also good things into that.
Yes.
You see, without social media, we will not be here. You will not be able to go online to the outside world to bring something positive to the world itself, But it will be also wonderful to remind people, the most important things of life also. That's why we have to be really careful of what we are watching. Is it a destructive or creative? But sadly is that nowadays, the viewers, when you travel around, you see, most of the time there's such an aggressiveness, and people are drawn toward that aggressiveness. And that is sad that most of the time when we look at what the media or the cinematography shows is also that aggressiveness. So I guess from my point of view, if somebody wants to watch something, it's better to watch something which is positive, because there's also, like we were talking about pilgrimage, there's also yatras, there's many wonderful movies who have also inspired people, If somebody wants to watch, if I put it clearly, it's better to watch something which is creative, which will help you to evolve, help you to progress.
So you're saying that it should be a conscious effort and discretion of what genre of content that we indulge in, right?
Yes, look, everybody have their choice in life, to what they do, what they want to look. We can't force anybody, but it also comes to the point of each individual to really take in consideration what do they want in life. They want to make that what they look in the TV their life. That will never happen, because what is shown in the TV is not real, and what it brings, they say, like I said, something which is real, only that will bring reality to you. It can inspire you, some things, but it also can destroy you. And this is what I think is the choice what people have to have.
So I have a last question probably, because pujas and temples form such a huge part of the Indian culture. And there has been long time brainwashing, colonial brainwashing that has happened. And today's generation, some of them, I won't say everyone, some of them still question the existence of devas and devis. It's very sad that documented history is, referred to as a myth and called mythology. Krishna's birth, which is documented, even astrologically, it's documented. Yet it's called myth and mythology in Indian culture. I want you to probably enlighten us a little bit about, the Devloka dimensions that our Rishi Munis used to speak about, and how do they operate to help us, human beings in this plane, and what are their expectations out of us, and how are we supposed to deal with these entities from the Devlokas, who of course, according to me and according to history and as per logic, do not have a religion to themselves.
It's true what you just said. You see, it's sad that when it comes to our culture, the Hindu culture, it's called a myth. If it was a myth, how come so many saints and sadhus have experienced that? When this happened in other religion, they are called saints. And when it happened to in Hinduism, it's called a myth. Because of course, you see, how we see life is different how the West see life. Like you have said it clearly, the colonial effect upon our culture. When the Westerners came with their idea, they have to destroy what was there already. And of course, they tell these are stories. But our saints have experienced that. They have experienced a different dimension. When we talk about spirituality, we are talking about not only one dimension, we are talking a multi-dimensional reality. And as we say, as you grow spiritually, you start to experience different reality embedded into this reality itself. And what our physical eyes, show us is all limited. What we hear, or our physical senses, it is all material. It's also always a limit. We hear only what is limited.
True.
But through our sadhana, through meditation, for your spiritual growth, then you start to open the gate to other spheres, other dimension. Then you start to perceive that, yes, the devas are there. They are elemental, which is in this reality, and they want that they are here to help us, to grow also. Bhagavan Krishna, like you said it earlier, he's an eternal yogi. Bhagavan is Bhagavan, he's eternal. And as he was there 5,000 years ago physically, he's still here. And those great sadhus and saints who have experienced him, they bear witness to that. The saints, they are living proof of Bhagavan himself, because they have elevated their consciousness to such a level that they experience him in their day-to-day life. In 2020, I came back from India, and we were quarantined in the room up here. So I said, okay, we can't be in the room. So I went up on the roof. And I was enjoying, because we would not go out, I was enjoying walking on the rooftop, So as I was walking on the rooftop and looking at it was such a beautiful summer that time, quiet, calm. In that, I saw light and had a vision of Bhagavan Vitthal. And he spoke and he said to me, give to everybody this mantra, Shri Vitthal Giridhari Parabrahmane Namaha. And this is how everything will be fulfilled for them. So when I came back when the vision disappeared, and I wrote it down, the mantra, and I gave it to the devotees, and it's amazing how just by chanting the mantra, how the consciousness have elevated itself, like Bhagavan himself have said, everything will be fulfilled. And it's true, to wonder, whoever have chanted Shri Vitthal Giridhari Parabrahmane Namaha, they have experienced, lots of people who were sick, they got healed. Lots of people, in their meditation, they have experienced so wonderful thing. But this is only happen, when your consciousness elevate itself, because if you let your consciousness be in the mundane reality, you can't experience the world of the deva.
True.
You can't experience the world of Krishna. You can't experience something beyond the five senses, because that five senses limit ourselves only onto the outside. So when your mind elevates itself through your sadhana, through your meditation, and of course through the grace of the Sadguru, which is the most important, that when you start to experience a different dimension in itself, being here, that you start to experience different dimension, the dimension of the devas, and Bhagavan himself, finally, by his grace, he will reveal himself. So in short, that I would say.
That was really beautiful. So it's basically the bhakti marg and the love that we should show to the divine, and the willingness to connect with the divine, and that's all we need.
Yes. Look, love is something very important. And love is not to show to the divine, it's show to everyone. The divine is in everything, in everybody which is around us. In which form Bhagavan come, in which form he choose to give his darshan, no one knows. And that's why we have to have this love. And love connect.
Beautiful. So thank you so much for this beautiful, beautiful message. and also the Vitthal mantra that you have shared with us. And I really hope and pray that anybody out there who's seeing this episode can benefit out of it and out of the wisdom that we have gained through today's episode. Guruji, you have already, given me a lot of your time. Only in case if there is any last message, you can give it to us.
What I would say, in just to final, Preeti, you're doing a wonderful job to remind everybody in a positive way, to bring that positivity to the world itself, So carry on doing what you're doing. And also, but everybody, even in the smallest things, what they can do, try to be positive.
Thank you so much. Grace of God, grace of my Guru, and grace of Gurus like you who have taken birth to uplift entire humanity is what I can say. Thank you so much.
Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev.